must be what it's like if you meet an actual president.
Yes, I agree. Totally.
Like where you go, holy shit, this person's looking me in the eye and paying way. Anytime you meet like a senator, or when you meet Hillary Rodham Clinton or somebody, they pay what Mitt Romney I was on the Tonight Show with, and just go like 2 years ago, and just meeting him briefly backstage, you're like, this person's paying way too much attention to me. They are way too looking into my eye because we're so used to like, hey man, how are you?
Right.
Really looking for, oh good. And they are in your eyes. And it's, I get, is it all just to get that vote? But with Tom, there's no vote.
No, he's just that. He is.
That's great. That is great.
Yeah, he is just when he locks in.
When I fired him, I was too far away from the matte box on his coverage. I was too far away from the camera.
Right.
And this is a visual, so I'll explain it to the audience, and then we got to get out of here. I was too. You got to be right next to the.
But have you ever met Tom Cruise?
No.
Okay.
I did once. Turns out it was Bjorn Borg, you know? I
go.
felt like
Thank
Alan
you.
Ladd on Easter Island. He was doing, it's his close-up. He just gets fired. It's the scene in the movie where we're up and running. Like, now, what do you do with the rest of your life? And to the people at home, when it's somebody else's coverage, you want to sit as close to the camera. Your face is almost touching the lens, so the person is almost looking down the barrel of the camera. My first movie, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a neophyte. Swishing and dishing, Jay Mohr, the young neophyte. Slick, clever, shrewd.
Has anybody ever been that great at something and then that bad at something?
Clyde?
Fucking Clyde.
I think he's great at it. Because Tom Tolbert once told me, you have to picture him rubbing his hands together.
That's great.
And ever since I pictured that,
great.
I went, I'm in.
That's great.
Ooh, posting and toasting. Elton, branded by Amari.
Oh,
we're talking about Clyde Drexler.
No,
Clyde Frazier. Sorry.
Now, Bernard is doing some of the games.
All right, we can't get too.
Go.
I'm the ADD guy.
Me too.
I need Koppelman to focus. And how long are you in town for?
I leave tomorrow night, then I'm back in a week.
Like, you came in for some serious shit.
Yeah, I had a couple of things.
The thing that's on the wire that you can't talk
thing
about?
and another thing too.
Really?
Yeah.
God.
A couple things.
You know what? Mazel, 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 mazel. I'm going to lay in bed tonight, and I'm pushing all good thoughts your way, my man.
Thank you. And me to you. What you were going to say, you were standing by the matte box, but
Okay.
you weren't close enough.
Thank you. And I wasn't close enough. And it's not the coverage where you see the table. It's his close-up, super tight, where it's like from just below his collarbone up, where it's that super close-up when you see the vein in his face stick out.
Yeah.
And he goes, you ungrateful, unctuous. I go, you did this to yourself. And he goes, you know what? Fine. And as he's talking, like across exactly where your diaphragm is, he takes his finger and he points to the map. He points his finger like.
So he's just to say, he's just below frame. So the camera can only, he's below what the camera can see.
If he goes up 2 inches, his finger is in the movie. And he's pointing me to get closer to the matte box, but he never leaves character. He goes, you ungrateful. And he's going like this, unctuous. And he's pointing like this. And I look down at his hand, and I look back up, and I look at the matte box, and I realize I've drifted a bit. So then I put my head almost against the matte box, and I swear to God, he goes, I am going to get all my clients, and I want yours. And he gives me a fucking okay in the middle of that sentence. Off camera, his neck up is on camera, and we're between his nipples. He gives me a fucking perfect. Thanks a lot. That's like what Buddhists.
Do you think that takes? You think that's the take in the movie? It
could be. Sure. There's no bad takes with that guy. I've never seen it. When I auditioned, that's a great story. He was off book in my audition. He knew the entire script.
That is a great story because
he's an underrated actor.
The level of craft that guy has and just knowledge that he has. I remember I
want him to do more acting, like Vanilla Sky. You know how hard it is to act a little crazy.
Do you know when someone has a camera on you? Like if you ask, because you've done a lot of movies. You've done so many movies. Like if someone says, "Hey, we're on a 75," do you immediately kind of know what that means?
I have no idea. I'm a comedian that makes believe he knows how to act.
Right, because sometimes, when we were working with John Malkovich, we were shooting this thing at night once, and then with we had the big lights, the whole thing, but it was getting to be late, and I remember we switched to, I think it was a 75 millimeter lens, and John just looked. He goes, "What are you on?" And we said a 75, and then he goes, "So it's from here." And he took like 3 steps in that direction, and then he took say here, right? And he hit exactly what we could see with the camera. It was crazy. The sort of like level of command and craft.
But see, I don't want to know me personally.
Sure, I understand why too.
Like, I don't want to know how the magician does the trick. I just like the rabbit.
Right.
So I don't want to know where, like, here's the thing. Like, I don't want to know.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
I just want to play make-believe like a child.
When I was in Michael Clayton, I yell at George Clooney and Michael Clayton like in the beginning of the movie.
I remember it very well.
Playing poker against him. And because I'd made movies, the director was talking to me. It was the first time I'd acted in a movie. And I was fucking freaking out because it was going to be with George Clooney. It was before we did Ocean's 13. So I didn't know him. This was the day I met him.
He's the coolest guy that
come
ever
in
lived.
the best. Yeah, he's just great.
Cooler than Matt Damon.
Well, no, he's not. I love Clooney, but no, Matt is actually as advertised, 100%. So is George. I don't know. Matt said yes to my first movie, and suddenly I had a career.
Well, that's why.
So I'm for me, I'm a Matt Damon loyalist. But
embarrassing yourself.
Look at you trying to make trouble. But I go to do this thing, and the director comes over to me and he goes, because I'm a filmmaker, and he said, "All right, so just so you know, and this is the first time I'm acting on film." He goes, "Just so you know, we got sandbags behind you, and we're dollying up, and if you could feel when the dolly comes to here, you should." And I just was like, I said, "I can't do any of that. I can barely speak. You got to forget that I ever was on a set before. Just wanted to play make believe. Right. I just wanted to pretend I was playing poker, because the second I was there, like I had to forget all of it, or I would have just completely panicked and fucked it up.
It's too much input."
Right?
It's garbage in, garbage out at that point.
Some actors want to know. Like Clooney knows all of it.
I was on a set.
He's a real actor.
He should have won for Descendants. I just watched it the other night. I didn't know when I was watching the Oscars. I was watching George Clooney get anally raped in the aisle of the Kodak Theater.
I thought Clooney should have hosted the Oscars.
I think
Sinatra, he should have hosted like Carson.
I on Best Five Pictures. Yeah, whatever. The thing with Clooney, let me tell you a quick Clooney story, and then we'll get out of here, and you have to come back. We'll do it again when I go to New York, and you're my man, dude.
I'll see you in New York. I'd love to.
Definitely. I was on a flight to Chicago when he was doing still, I guess, Chicago Hope.
And I think it's good, by the way. Like every 8 podcasts... Every 8 podcasts or so, you should have someone not funny on just to set up for the rest of the guys. No, but it's good to have a non-comic just to set up all the other comics who come back.
Way funnier than half the comics we've had on. Trust me.
No, I wasn't trolling for that. I'm saying.
You didn't listen to Brian Callen's breakdown of calories?
Yeah, I know.
Calories are ridiculous.
Let me just say this: it was funnier hearing you and Brendan talk about them.
Yes,
that was great.
I lost 12 pounds since that podcast.
Right, it worked.
It did work.
You didn't try the Tim Ferriss thing though. The 4-hour body.
No. But
I tried. I tried. How'd it work? I tried it.
Mostly apples. Apples is the answer to losing weight.
Lentils.
Fucking apples and lentils. And stop eating, you fat fuck. She really did a fucking number on you. This is a fucking crazy place. You put you with them. You could have said anybody. You said Joey Salvi you. You could have said anybody. That means something. What? All right. I'm on a plane.
That is a great movie. Underrated.
Yes, it is. I'm on a plane with Clooney. He just did Out of Sight, and I'm talking to him, and he's doing Buddy Hackett to me, and I'm doing Buddy Hackett to him. He's sitting right in front of me on the plane.
He's really funny. He's a professional comedian level funny.
Absolutely could be
Clooney's as funny as they come.
And we're talking. Julia Margulies is sitting next to him, and I'm like, so you did Out of Sight with Jennifer Lopez? And he's like, yeah. I go, I got to tell you, man, I really like the movie. And it's Soderbergh, it's perfect. It's Soderbergh, it's just perfect.
Great movie. Yeah.
It's just perfect. Anything he does is just perfect. And I go, wow, she's pretty hot, man, huh? And he goes, no. And I go, well, I mean, maybe she's not your type, but you can at least, and he goes, no. Like, now he's turned completely facing me, like how like a little kid would sit in a chair and peek over. He goes, no.
Wow.
Like emphatic. And I go, all right, maybe she was like difficult, but as difficult as she was, he goes, listen to me. There is nothing attractive about that woman. All right? And I go, you got it. He goes, okay. And then he goes into Buddy Hackett.
Oh, that's great. Right into Hackett.
But he yelled.
Right.
Like, I don't want to ever have, I've already had this conversation for 6 months. This woman was so horrible, apparently, that she's no longer, you can't even go, she's a cute kid. Right. No, there is nothing.
Zero.
Brian Koppelman, go to jmohr.com. And by the way, thank you everybody that's doing this. And I love your tweets, your random things that you buy. Slayman, just picked up some sunglasses. Good looking out. Oh, yeah. I just got my Randy Macho Man Savage bobblehead on Amazon. Thank you, everybody, for doing it. Go buy Solitary Man. It's a really good movie, and it's Michael Douglas, and it's Koppelman. We need Koppelman to get more money so he can cast me and Tom Segura and a bunch of dopes for his next movie after he secures Johnny Knoxville.
Rick Crom, Provenza.
Rick Crom.
Bill Grunfest. We'll cast them all.
No, I will not work with Bill. There is nothing attractive.
That's great.
About wild.
Yeah, but
Bill Grunfest.
he's kind of funny. Oh, no.
He, I will say this real quick. Gary Goldman brought this together. So special shout out to Gary Goldman. And Koppelman, you're on Twitter, right?
Yeah, at Brian Koppelman.
All right. No underscores?
No underscores.
A lot of people with the underscores.
Because they couldn't get their name. Right. But no one was squatting on Brian Koppelman's name. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna open fake Brian Koppelman.
Yeah, good.
And I'm just gonna talk shit. I'm gonna find out who the producers are and talk shit about.
No one thinks more highly of comics and comedians. I'm thrilled to be. I love listening to your podcast. It kills me.
Thanks. Oh yeah.
This has been a production of Smudcast Internet Radio.
Guys, and it's I get, is it all just to get that vote? But with Tom, there's no vote.
No, he's just that. He is.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, he is just when he locks in.
When I fired him, I was too far away from the Matt box on his coverage. Romney, I was on the Tonight Show with, and just go like 2 years ago, and just meeting him briefly backstage, you're like, this person's paying way too much attention to me. They are way too looking into my eye. Because we're so used to like, hey man, how are you?
Right.
Really looking for, oh good. And they are in your eye. It's too far away from the camera.
Right.
And this is a visual, so I'll explain it to the audience, and then we got to get out of here. You got to be right next to the...
But have you ever met Tom Cruise?
No.
Okay.
I did once. Turns out it was Bjorn Borg, I
go.
felt like
Thank
Alan
you.
Ladd on Easter Island. He was doing, it's his close-up, he just gets fired. It's the scene in the movie where we're up and running. Like, now, what do you do with the rest of your life? And to the people at home, when it's somebody else's coverage, it must be what it's like if you meet an actual president.
Yes, I agree. Totally.
Like where you go, holy shit, this person's looking me in the eye and paying anytime you meet like a senator or when you meet Hillary Rodham Clinton or somebody, they pay what Mitt